Some people need to learn everything the hard way, and over the years, I often felt like one of those people was me. In this episode, I'm going to share with you what I wish I knew when I started my consulting business. Super important lessons like not to fear competition, that nobody back at corporate gives a crap about your silly LinkedIn posts, that overwork never made me more money, and the weirdest, quirkiest, most outlandish stuff that's true to you is exactly what your clients want. Join me for a very personal episode that will shave years off your learning curve. Hey, it's Samantha Hartley, and this is Profitable Joyful Consulting. This is our 200th episode. Yay, yay you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm celebrating by doing something a little bit different. I'm going to share with you today what I wish I had known when I first started my consulting business. There have been so many lessons along the way, and I did a lot of it the hard way. I didn't have a lot of guidance, especially in my early years. I took the blood, sweat, and tears route. I took the learn things the hard way. Learn things the first time the easy way. I'm going to share a lot of stuff. Hopefully, you'll find some things that resonate with you. Many years ago, I saw this comedy where a wife scolds a husband for losing a bunch of money gambling, saying, "You can't make money at gambling." And he says, "I know that now." That has become a meme around our household, and we will constantly be joking about things like, "I know that now." That's how I feel about the lessons that I'm sharing today. But at the time, it did not seem that obvious. And boy, some things I just really spent years learning. Don't do that, please. So the first thing I'm going to share is, and they're in no particular order, low ticket internet pricing is not our market. That whole $17, $27, $37 things, I spent years doing that. And what I can tell you is you have to have thousands and thousands of people buy your stuff if you want to make a decent living doing things that way. And it's just high effort. It's not going to attract the people that you need to bring into your business. It's going to, for the most part, bring you customer service nightmares. And in general, the fastest way to build the business that you want is through high ticket. And if you need fewer than 10 clients to make exactly as much money as you want, then it's a much easier way to earn a living. It's as easy to sell a $10,000 offer as it is to sell a $10 offer. It's as easy to enroll a $100,000 client as it is to enroll a $1,000 client. Believe it now the first time you hear it. I wish I had known how to work with multiple clients at a time, but I didn't. When I first left my corporate job, I knew how to have a job and work for one. So my first client, I basically worked for them full time. Like, I didn't need to. They weren't paying me to work for them full time, but I was like, I don't know what to do with the rest of the time I have. What people said back then was if you were a consultant, you were really between jobs. And nobody really believed you were a consultant until you'd been in business for at least 5 years. So I thought, oh, well, I want to be in business 5 years. But the truth is that doesn't matter. It matters how many clients you have. If you have one client, you have a glorified job. If you have 2 clients, you're basically a freelancer with like a job and a side hustle. Once you have 3 clients, you begin to build the foundation of a business. Learning to work with 3 clients, which can seem like, oh my God, so much to juggle. Or even 5 clients. Oh my gosh, how do I even figure out my schedule for this? That's beginning to get out of your comfort zone, but expanding into the version of yourself you need to be to have a real consulting business. I'd love for you to have between 5 and 10 consulting clients at all times. That's all you need to earn as much as you need to earn for your business. Always be marketing. What I would do back then is I would get a client and then I'd be like, okay, I'm focused on working for them. And all of the marketing would fall to the wayside. Why? Because even for me, as somebody who came out of marketing, the marketing was uncomfortable. We just want to do the work for the client. Isn't that just easier? Let's just do that. But as soon as you stop marketing, you stop attracting clients. That's a problem. So always be marketing. You're working with a client, you still have at least half of the time you spend in your business, you want to be marketing and attracting additional clients to yourself. Here's a weird thing. The actual marketing that you're doing isn't necessarily the way the clients come to you. They come to you through your energy. What do I mean by that? Well, I wish I knew that I could be doing all the right things in the marketing, but if my energy wasn't right, like if I was exhausted and worn out, burned out, then no clients would come to me. Why? Because the universe is benevolent and the universe was paying attention to the messages that I was sending. And the messages were virtual close sign. No more clients right now. I'm overwhelmed. I'm busy. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. So you have to get your energy right in order for your marketing to work. Clients are attracted to you because of your energy. It doesn't mean you can stop marketing. I mean, a client can't just like walk up to your door and knock on it and be like, hey, I got your energetic signal. They still have to see the marketing. But the energy that you're sending out through your marketing is what's going to bring the clients to you. Self-leadership, self-management, self-sabotage. When you are self-employed, it's all about yourself. We're all amazing at getting the work done for the client. Like we always meet client deadlines, but when you have to work on your own stuff, you have to learn how to work on your own stuff. And so you're going to meet your own self-sabotage. You're going to meet your own rebellious inner self. We have to learn how to get work done. I started by finally, after years of suffering, recruiting accountability partners. And then I would have accountability buddies and we would co-work or parallel work or whatever it took for the work on my business to get done. You are your own number one client. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. You have to be focusing on growing your business, and it has to take primacy over the work that you're doing for your other clients. Client work is going to get done. You've got to be marketing your business. So good brain time, that early morning, best brain time that you have, whenever you are at your best to work on your stuff, whenever you're creating content, you're most creative, whenever you're strategic, that has to happen. All that brain time needs to be given to your business. That has to happen first over client work. And if you're your number one client, act accordingly. You need to block out your calendar first before you get any client dates on your calendar. It needs to be your vacation, your important dates like birthdays, all of your hobbies. Block out your ideal week. You don't want to work on Monday morning? Don't do it. Block it out. Don't give it away. You don't want to work a Friday afternoon? When are you going to work? Make yourself available to your clients, but let the calendar structure your work and protect your time from giving it away to anybody else. I wish I had learned earlier how to let go and let the business do the work. One of my favorite expressions is the business does the work, not me. When you build your business up, you build up your team, you build up processes and procedures, then you can put the ball into the machine and it'll go through the machine and spit out a result. So the business can do the work, not you. It's not about the effort. It's about focus. It's not about pushing. It's about allowing. Coming out of a hypermasculine environment like corporate, the mantras were things like, make it happen. My job is make it happen. Well, in self-employment and the way that I want to work and the way that I've seen results, I wish I learned sooner that I get the best results when I flow, when I receive, when I intuit, and when I'm aligned with the greater flow of abundance in the universe. And I can't do that when I'm pushing, when I'm making it happen, when I'm controlling, when I allow my team and my clients to solve the problems that I have empowered them to solve, then everything goes better. Our clients have to implement. We cannot do everything for them. Joint accountabilities will free you up because there are things that they need to be responsible and there are things that you need to be responsible for. But we can't want it more than they do. In the beginning, all of my clients were like happy with the things that I did for them, the deliverables, but they wouldn't implement. So I had years go by before I had any success stories, before I had any case studies, before I could point to results. And that delayed the success of my business. Because I could have done it differently, but I didn't know this. I allowed the clients to get away with not implementing. When the clients implement, they get results, and then you get case studies, success stories, referrals. You get the success that your clients mirror back onto you. For many years in my business, and this is at least 10 years ago, but for many years, I just believed that people didn't want transformation. It was too scary. Transformation is scary. They want change, but they don't want transformation. It's too unexpected. So in all of our marketing, we would avoid that word and we would only talk about change, improvement, things like that. They just want a little improvement. The truth was, I was not comfortable with transformation. I wasn't comfortable making that promise, holding that container for them. So I got little results for them. As soon as I got comfortable with transformation in my own life and in holding a container for a client to go through a massive change over time, really getting those changes, then guess what? I began to attract clients who did want transformation and who were willing to put in the work for it. I couldn't hold that container because I had to go through the transformation myself. I had to work in situations in our personal life where I saw people experiencing difficult emotions, experiencing resistance, fear, self-sabotage, all of the things that we need to have in order to evolve, like being disappointed in yourself, developing new habits. I had to learn adult education and adult behavior change. I didn't know I was going to need to do that. I wish I'd known in the very beginning. I'm going to need to be not even an expert, but just like kind of fairly well educated in adult behavioral change and adult learning styles so that I can get that transformation for my clients. Because here's the next one. You want to sell transformation and not projects. I sold projects for years and I would have a number of projects throughout the year. And even though it's like a $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 project that you do, a project is necessarily short term. It comes to an end. And when it's done, you're back on the revenue roller coaster. Probably. You can sell multiple projects at once, but projects just by their very nature are time intensive because we've got a short duration where we want to get something done. And if you have a lot of high intensity projects going on at the same time, that's going to be a lot to manage. When you sell transformation, you're allowing for a gentler change. Why? Because people can't metabolize faster change. Organizations can't metabolize a change that quickly. So we're doing it more gently, not for ourselves, but for everyone, for the highest good of all concerned. And when we work that way, that's when you get really amazing results. So selling transformation of like, well, where you are right now in your organization or in your business is right here. And I'm hearing you describe this outcome. That's really a 3 to 5 year time horizon. But what we'll do in the first year is this. Do you hear how that positions transformation? It says it takes a long time. It might even take longer than we're going to have right now, but you're going to be able to achieve what you desire, something that is mostly only slightly resembling what you have right now. It's going to be big. It's going to be a big change. You might be unrecognizable to your current selves, but I will escort you gently through that process of transformation. Oh, this one's embarrassing. I wish I knew in the very beginning that there's really no such thing as competition. I would even say this because I believe in abundance, but it was like a 97% believability factor for myself. I would just go into situations and there would be somebody else who I thought did something like I do. And I would be like, oh my gosh, there's another marketing consultant, another person from the Coca-Cola company, another person doing this, like someone like me. And I would just feel like scarce. My scarcity would crop up. I wish I knew when I first started that your clients want you. There's no such thing as competition. There are alternatives to you. And you know who takes those alternatives? Not your client. People who are not your client work with other people because they're not your client. Those people aren't your competition. Those are the alternatives. And we need those places for not our client to go. Because if you work with not your client, you're always going to be very unhappy. They're going to be unsatisfied because there's going to be this like, we're not a fit for each other. There are plenty of clients for everyone. Even if someone wrote a book about something, there's room for you to write a book about that same topic. You know why? Because your people want you. If there's an ebook or they made a video or somebody else has already got a program about that, nobody cares. Your clients want you. I've even said to people before, well, actually, you can go to so-and-so and learn about this thing. That's like the inventor of it. And they're like, I want to learn it from you. So just bear in mind, your clients want you. They don't want the alternatives. And those alternatives are there to satisfy everybody else who isn't your client. There is plenty of business. And if you got all of your clients, you would have all the business you could handle. I wish I had known to focus on abundance and not austerity. You know, there were some lean years in my business while I was learning how to be a consultant. So we didn't earn as much as I wanted to bring in. And so I thought, let me just reduce expenses. We're not going to have as much fun. We won't go out as much and we're going to like not spend as much money on this and we won't live in as nice as a place and we'll just try to make ourselves like very small. And guess what my revenues did? My revenues were very small because my essence was very small. I've always had as much money as I needed. So when I realized, actually just live your big life right now, live that big life, be abundant, go ahead and invest in that program, go on that vacation, go ahead and do all those things. I've always earned enough to cover all that stuff. I just didn't realize it in the beginning. I thought, I don't know if the money will be there. In my experience, the money was always there and more. And the bigger my life got, the bigger my revenues and the bigger my income got. You want to be the youest you can be. If you've got a freak flag, you want to let it fly. If you have something that you're like, but the essence of me, I can't really bring that part of me into my business because it's too big, too weird, too unusual, too something. It doesn't really align. You have to be the youest you can be. Everybody is going to copy everything, but nobody can copy you. And when I realized that I am corporate, I do have a really strong corporate personality, and I'm also very spiritual. And it's the most important thing in my personal life. And if I don't bring that into my business, then I won't be real and I won't actually be helping people, because this spirituality aspect is 90% of how I get results. And so if people want to learn how to get results the way I get them, then they're going to need to buy into that part of it. So the whole beginning of my brand was about realizing it was earth rules and magical thinking. Earth rules are things like goals, plans, strategies, websites, networking, the internet. Magical thinking are things that work, but we don't know why, like the quality of your energy, meditation, prayer, affirmations, the law of attraction, the law of action. You have to combine those things, in my view, in order to get the results. And my people are coming to me for those things. Whenever I'd have somebody who was pure earth rules, who came just for the corporate and didn't want the spirituality, didn't want the magical thinking piece, well, then it didn't work for them and they weren't really a good fit for me. And I wasn't a good fit for them. I would drive them crazy. The opposite was true when I would bring in people who were like all about the woo and they really didn't want to mess with any of this marketing or any of this like real world stuff. Not my client. I can't get you results. So the youest you is combining all of the things that are the non-negotiables in your personality, the things that you can't be the fullest you in your business without. Got a lot of clients who are trying to say, well, I don't want to bring that part in. I don't understand how that would work. This is my personal passion. This is my this. It works together in your brain and in your life. Bring that all together. There's a way to do that in your business. And if it doesn't attract and it doesn't work with the clients you have now, then you have a whole audience that you haven't yet tapped into who is going to really want that youest you. No one back at corporate cares. When I first launched my website, I was like, oh my God, well, what if the people I used to work with see this? And they're like, who does she think she is? Nobody cares. That whole peer group back at corporate, they're not reading my website. They're not looking at my posts. I have so many clients who the first time they make that post on LinkedIn or the first time they declare themselves self-employed or they're going to claim their expertise in something, they're like, but what if who? My former colleagues, the people I grew up with, what if somebody sees it? Nobody cares. They're not keeping up with it. And a lot of times they're your biggest champions. They want to encourage that in you. And after the first time's the hardest, believe me, the first time you hit publish on the website, the first time you hit publish on that post, the first video you make or podcast episode you put out there, it's always the hardest one. And then after that, everything gets easier. They're not paying attention to you. Everybody's wrapped up in their own world. So just hit send. I wish I knew then that if you don't get the client, sometimes that's because you dodged a bullet. So maybe don't worry about it so much. Later on, you're going to find out like, oh, wow, they're that. Okay, thank you, universe. I didn't get it at the time. Trust the universe. It's looking out for you. It's got your back. Procrastination always has a reason. So pay attention to it and dig into it. And don't shame and beat yourself up because that's not the way to work with it. You want to get curious about it. Why am I procrastinating on this thing? Very often you'll find, I don't know how to do it. I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't want to do this. I don't understand why I'm doing it, or I'm afraid of what this will lead to. And all of those are things that you can get help with. So do. I wish I knew that clients do want a cookie cutter approach. They do. Guess what cookie cutters do? They get exact same result every time. When I first started consulting, mantra was, nobody wants a cookie cutter approach. Because that's what the big consulting companies did. Well, that's because they had these cadres of MBAs who would come in and generate all of this nonsense. Well, maybe it would work, but maybe it wouldn't. Cookie cutters work every single time. So create a signature approach. The first couple of years that you're working, you're going to figure out what works with your clients. I didn't know I had this in me. I didn't know I had a signature system. And then I went through somebody else's signature system and I thought to myself, well, what would mine be? His step one is this and my step one is this. His 7 steps are here. Well, here's my 7 steps. Interesting. I had signature systems in me. And you know what? Once I discovered the first one, I had a bunch of them in me. So cookie cutter is another derisive, derogatory word for signature system. Create your proprietary signature approaches. And then when you go to your clients, you can say, yes, it's a cookie cutter approach. This is the signature approach that I've used with my clients consistently to get these consistent results. Fairly sophisticated consultants will know that they need a brand and they'll know that they need to develop it. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known as? How is that going to be expressed in your brand voice, in your social media, in your imagery? Sophisticated consultants know that they need a brand. I came out of the Coca-Cola company, the premier marketing company in the world. Brand was the work we did every single day. It was the guiding principle. It was infusing everything we did. I knew I needed a brand in my consulting business, but guess what? It wasn't. It wasn't the marketing message. It wasn't imagery, brand voice, personality, survey results, customer feedback. It's nothing except the results you get. When you get results with your business, the results are your brand. They speak for themselves. They're going to turn into the attractor factor, the magnet, the core of your business that is going to bring everyone else in. If you don't get results for your clients, then you're going to need some imagery and some brand voice and personality. You're going to need a whole lot of floof to cover up the fact that the work doesn't work. We don't even need deliverables as much as we need the results of what we're doing. So focus first on getting results, and then the brand will follow from that. Your brand is the results you get, not your spectacular deliverables. Good results will grow the business for you. Only work with perfect clients? I did not know that. I have done numerous shows about that. It took me a while to realize, and I had to learn some really hard lessons along the way. Never learn those lessons more than once, okay? And I've talked about my 3 really core, terrible, formative clients who taught me everything I know about client selection, how to not work with more clients like them. And if you happen to end up with a dreadful client, figure out exactly how they came to you, why it didn't work, what their qualities are, so that you can program against them and never end up in that situation again. Learn that lesson, don't have to relearn it again later. I wish I had keyed in earlier to the lesson to lead and not necessarily just serve. Mantras like be servant leadership and you should serve your people and say we, not I. I think they were in response to hypermasculine leadership styles, command and control leadership. And whenever I've worked with women leaders, I've said, you need to say I. You need to take ownership of your results. You're leading, not serving. I serve so-and-so audience. I'm like, no, be a leader to them. Those messages weren't for us. And I think a lot of it was intended to make us feel small. So when I was first self-employed, I was like, I don't want to be overpowering. I don't want to have these grandiose messages about myself. But really, when I stand in my power, and when I speak in terms of leadership and when I do lead my clients and my team, everybody benefits. It's for the highest good of all. I'm not doing it from some self-serving thing. I am doing it in service, but I'm doing it in service to my clients' missions and goals. I'm doing it in service to the world and the planet. Don't let someone come in and tamp down your leadership or ask you to kind of like dilute it. Those are messages that were for someone who isn't you. And they were for someone who wasn't me. Women need to claim our power, and I needed to claim my power. And of course, we're in service to all. We're in service to the collective, but we need to prioritize leading and not just serving. And speaking of leading, we need to lead our team, but not compel them. When people work for us, and this was true way back then, it's much truer now. When I had freelancers working for me and I wanted to get results from them when they maybe wouldn't do their work the way I wanted. My old Coke habits were like being strict and not necessarily even yelling, but like telling them what to do as opposed to encouraging them and inviting them. Everyone was working for me by choice. And what I had to learn was how to invite them to give their best to me and to their work. Because I couldn't compel them. I couldn't say, or you'll be fired. Okay, fine, I have other clients. Or okay, fine, I'm just going to go somewhere else. It didn't hold any sway. So I had to be curious about like, how come this isn't getting done? And how come this is hard? Or do you need more support? Or how can I help you? What would make you more excited to work on this project or in the company? It just was a leadership style that I never had back when I worked with a team of 30 in some of my earlier jobs. It took me a while to learn that my team worked for me by choice and that they were doing their best and that they wanted to be here with me. And I could encourage them without having to manage or force them. Build your revenues goal from the top down and not from the bottom up. From the bottom up means I've got a $20,000 client. So how many $20,000 clients do I need to have in order to hit my goal, or worse? And this wasn't me, thank goodness. Oh, I'm charging $500 an hour. How many hours do I need to work? So luckily, I didn't start with charging by the hour. I started with day rates, and then I rapidly went to project and then value-based rates. But I'd be like, okay, so it's a $20,000 project. How many projects do I need to hit, let's say, $200,000? Okay, so that's 10 projects. Well, that seems like a lot. Instead, I began to ask, if I want to earn $200,000, can I do that with one client? Ooh, that seems like a lot. Okay, maybe not. All right, so how about 2 clients for $100,000 each? Well, I've never done that before, but it doesn't seem impossible. Okay, well, how about 4 at 50 apiece? Well, I could definitely do that. I mean, if I'm doing a $20,000 project now, I could just do it for twice as long and add a little bit of stuff to it. Yeah, I could definitely do. Okay, so then I just went from needing to attract 10 clients to 4. Now, for most of my clients, this looks like I needed to have 30, and now I only need 4 or 5. It's much, much easier and faster to bring in 4 or 5. And that is the way that I structure my business. And I wish I had done it sooner, faster, because I'm just picturing my revenue sheets where I track revenues, and it'd be like, well, here's a short-term project here, and here's a short-term project, and here's a short-term project. Ideally, they were layered on top of each other, but it still made it that I had to work with so many clients at a time. Now, 5 to 10 clients, you're charging $50 to $100K a piece. You can hit a $2 million business like that. Oof, I wish I knew sooner how to do proposals. So much simpler. They used to take me hours. And that's good. I'd be sitting down. I'd have to compose it freshly from the start. Eventually I got a template. It still took hours and hours and hours to do it because I wasn't getting in the discovery sessions the information that I needed to put into the proposals. If it's hard to write, you're doing it wrong. You don't have enough information. Now I get the right information in that meeting. I come back to the proposal template. I'm consistently doing signature work. So the things that I'm writing about in the proposal don't change. It takes me about 20 minutes to do a new proposal, sometimes less. Phew! I teach how to write proposals in other episodes of the show. And I also have a template that will greatly simplify this process for you. You can get the $1 Million Proposal template at SamanthaHartley.com/super. And also be sure to watch the video where I'm sharing tons of insider tips that you don't want to have to learn the hard way. And lastly, trust the universe. Doing it all is not the way to do it. And if you feel like you are 100% in charge of everything, then it's heavy and it's difficult. When I feel like the universe is on my side, I can delegate. Hey, universe, how about sending me 3 new clients? And then I expect them to arrive. Then I feel empowered. I feel supported. It's also critical to bring that kind of support into your life. Surround yourself with support systems in your life. A supportive spouse, mentors, a community of people around you who know what it's like to be self-employed and working from home. Maintain a spiritual practice so that you are balanced and clear and can make decisions. I always say to my clients, it doesn't matter to me which faith tradition you come from or what your spiritual practice you have. What matters to me that you do it so that you are keeping yourself balanced, so that you can make decisions, so that you are able to process, to be your best version of yourself when you're working. Get lots of exercise. Take care of yourself. Sleep. Sleep and self-care are really the secrets to successful self-employment. All of the stuff that we're doing in our business will collapse in a minute if you're not taking care of yourself. So trust that the universe is on your side. Find yourself a support system, a supportive environment and community, and personally take really, really good care of yourself. I wish I had done that more in my very first years. And I wish that I had known that when I first started my business. I'm curious, what do you wish you had known when you first started? And which of the things that I've shared are you like, aha, I know that now, and you won't need to learn it the hard way? Thank you for joining me for my 200th episode. I hope you'll be here for another 200. I'm always delighted to hear from you, what you want to know more about, what I can share with you. And I'll be back next week with more about expansion and how to expand your business. And with that, I'm wishing you a profitable and joyful consulting business. Thank you for watching. To learn more about how to build a consulting business where you work exclusively with perfect clients on transformational engagements and build a profitable and joyful consultancy, then please subscribe to our channel and be sure to click the bell to get notifications when new episodes come out.